Your hair might be sending a message you didn't mean to send. We spend so much time thinking about the right outfit, a touch of lipstick, maybe even the perfect earrings. But there's one thing that quietly speaks louder than we realize: our hair. Not because of the color, not the length either. It's the little choices, the ones we don't even question anymore. A part that's been in the same place for 20 years. A haircut that once felt safe, but now feels stiff. Hair so flat it pulls the life out of our expression. The truth is, some hairstyles or even small habits can add years we don't feel. Not because we're doing anything wrong, but because our hair is no longer echoing the woman we are today. In this video, we're not chasing youth or chasing trends. We're just having an honest look at 5 common hair habits that can quietly age us and how to shift them in small, graceful ways. Because beauty after 60 isn't about doing more. It's about choosing what feels right now. If you have a mirror nearby, you might find yourself noticing a few things differently. And that gentle noticing, that's where the shift begins. Let's start with a subtle habit that often gets mistaken for neatness, but might be holding your whole look down. It's one of the most common habits, especially among women who like things tidy and low maintenance, keeping the hair smooth, close, and under control. But here's the catch. When your hair lies too flat against your scalp, especially around the crown or top of the head, it can actually pull your whole face downward. Instead of framing your features, it flattens them. Instead of lifting your expression, it can make you look tired or withdrawn, even when you're feeling your best. And for those of us with thinning or finer hair after 60, this effect is even stronger. But the good news is, you don't need a drastic haircut or a drawer full of styling tools to fix it. Sometimes, it starts with something as simple as changing the direction you brush your hair in the morning. Or lifting the roots while drying, using your fingers instead of flattening everything with a brush. A soft, layered crown or even a gentle wave adds just enough air and softness to lift the whole face. I once met a woman named Linda, who always brushed her hair straight back every day for 30 years. She tried parting it slightly to the side and using a touch of mousse at the crown. The next Sunday at church, someone asked if she'd gotten a facelift. She hadn't. She just let her hair lift with her spirit. Now that we've lifted the top, let's talk about another hidden habit, one that's often tied to comfort, but can quietly age us over time. There's comfort in familiarity, and when you've found a haircut that once worked, it's tempting to stick with it. But here's what many women don't realize. A haircut that flattered your face at 40 may not be doing you the same favors at 65. Why? Because your face has changed. The shape softens, gravity shifts things ever so gently, and what once lifted your cheekbones or brightened your eyes may now drag them down or emphasize lines you'd rather soften. This doesn't mean you need to reinvent your style. It just means your hair should evolve with you like a companion that understands who you are now. Even a small change can breathe life into your look. Maybe it's softening the ends, adding face-framing layers, or experimenting with wispy bangs that blur rather than sharpen. One woman I spoke with, Ruth from Texas, had worn the same sleek bob since 2005. It was tidy, classic, and she said it felt like her. But after her daughter gently suggested a little texture, Ruth added some soft layering around her cheeks and side-swept fringe. The effect? Suddenly, she told me, my face looked kind, softer, like it remembered how to smile again. Because sometimes, it's not about changing who you are. It's about letting the outside reflect the warmth and wisdom you already carry. Now let's look at a sneaky one, the color mistake that starts with playing it safe and ends up dulling your whole look. There's a certain comfort in going darker. It feels polished, simple, even slimming, and for many women, it's a habit that started decades ago. But as we age, that rich espresso or jet black shade we once loved can suddenly feel heavy. Too dark hair can wash out your complexion, highlight fine lines, and harden the natural warmth of your face. Even worse, when the color is the same from root to tip, it can make the hair appear lifeless like a helmet, rather than something soft and alive. But you don't need to swing to the other extreme. The fix isn't about going blonde or going bold. It's about adding depth through gentle highlights, soft lowlights, or even a slightly lighter overall shade. These small shifts can brighten the face, bring out your eyes, and give your hair natural movement, even if you never curl it. A stylist once told me, "We're not trying to make someone look younger. We're just reintroducing light where the eye wants to go." Take Diane, 67, who had been coloring her hair the same solid chestnut brown for over a decade. Her stylist added soft caramel highlights just around her face, nothing dramatic. But when she walked into her book club the next week, someone asked if she had been on vacation. Nope. She just brought back a little glow. Speaking of glow, there's a part of the hair we often forget, and the way you part it could be making more of a statement than you think. It's a tiny habit, and for many of us, it's one we've had since high school. You find a part that feels familiar, and then you never change it. But here's the thing. A deep side part that once gave volume might now reveal thinning. A center part that once felt fresh might now emphasize symmetry in a way that flattens your features. And if your part hasn't moved in years, your hair starts to lay heavy, losing bounce, texture, and dimension. But there's a gentle fix. Shift your part just an inch. It's free, it's easy, and it can soften your entire appearance. Some stylists recommend a zigzag part, which disrupts the scalp line and gives the illusion of fuller roots. Others suggest flipping your part from left to right every few weeks to keep hair lifted. And here's what's lovely. This small change doesn't scream for attention. It just quietly refreshes your frame. Carla, 70, told me she wore a dead center part for most of her adult life. One afternoon, her granddaughter played with her hair and flipped it gently to the side. Carla looked in the mirror and laughed. I looked like I had a secret. Sometimes, that's all it takes. A little movement in the part can bring a little movement to the whole face. Now for one last habit, and it's one we often adopt in the name of elegance, but it might be making us look more severe than we mean to. We've all been taught, in some way or another, that polished equals professional. That put together means no flyaways, no frizz, no movement. So we reach for the hairspray, the gels, the round brush and the blow dryer like armor. But here's the thing, no one tells us. Hair that's too perfect can actually harden your features. It can draw attention to every line, every angle, and make your overall look feel rigid even when your spirit is anything but. Especially after 60, a little softness goes a long way. It might mean letting a few pieces around the temple fall naturally, or swapping stronghold spray for a lighter mousse that gives body without the crunch. One woman I met, Doris, used to set her hair every morning with firm hold spray, not a strand out of place. After some gentle coaxing, she tried air drying with a bit of volumizing cream and a wide-tooth comb. The next time she went to her bridge group, someone said she looked well rested, and she laughed because she hadn't slept a wink the night before. Turns out, softness reads as energy, not mess. Movement reads as life. And you don't need to go messy to feel modern. You just need to let your hair breathe a little like you. So now that we've untangled these small habits, let's step back and look at the bigger picture, because this isn't really about hair. It's about how you show up in the world. If you've recognized one or two of these habits in your own routine, I hope you know this. You haven't done anything wrong. You've simply been doing what worked until it didn't. The truth is, none of these so-called mistakes are flaws. They're just outdated echoes of what once made us feel like ourselves. And now you get to choose again. Because the goal isn't to look younger. It's to look like someone who still sees herself, who still shows up with softness, style, and presence. Maybe that means lifting your roots a bit, or shifting your part to one side, or letting one strand fall free just because it feels like you. Every little choice is a whisper that says, I'm still here. I still care. I still want to feel good in my skin. And if that means learning to let go of old routines or trying something new, you're not doing it for approval. You're doing it because you deserve to feel at home in the mirror again. If something in today's video resonated with you, a hair habit, a story, a shift you've been thinking about, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment below. Not because you need advice, but because your voice matters. And your journey might help another woman see herself with kinder eyes too. After all, hair doesn't define us, but the way we carry it can quietly remind the world who we've always been.